Bom dia. Good morning. I'm gonna start getting ready for the day. It is our second week doing our pregnancy shred prep. I'm feeling really motivated, and I think that this time around my shred looks different, and for obvious reasons. It is it's a much more important goal here. So I've been feeling really motivated. I've been feeling really excited, and I think that there was a part of me that has been a little nervous about this whole prep journey because it's becoming so real. But I feel like I'm finally at a point where it's starting to become more exciting than scary. And I think that is a good turning point and a good fuel to the fire. So today I'm going to walk you guys through everything that I learned so far from meeting with professionals, from doing my own investigation, and from things that my husband and I have discussed together. So I hope this helps you guys in your journey. I know that not everyone is on their pregnancy journey, but everyone should be on a journey. I'm a big believer that life is about journeys. It's about doing things that are hard, doing things that are challenging. That is really the only way you grow. So I urge you, do some hard things today. I'm gonna get ready for the day. I wanna put on a little bit of makeup for you guys. My under eye bags are probably starting to show. I'm still in PJs, so let me get ready. I'm gonna put on some workout clothes, make some coffee, some breakfast, and then we'll sit down and chat. Let's. Well, good morning from me and my kitchen closet. You guys, I still have not gotten over my kitchen closet situation, and I'm still working on just letting go. If you missed last week's video, go back and check it out. I did a huge closet clean out and I got rid of so many things that I no longer use, no longer fits me, that I've just been hoarding for some reason. And with that, I thought I was going to have more room in my closet, and I only figured out other ways to organize in a better sense, but that also made my closet not as spacious, if that makes sense. So now, yeah, I had to buy a rack. But you know what? The bright side of things is that I can finally see my favorite jackets and go-tos, that I would always have to like dig and reach really high up in my closet. So now at least I get to see them out and they get some air, and that makes me happy. But it's going to be here for the next few months, I fear, because Kenny and I have not yet decided where we're moving next. That's another reoccurring thought that I cannot escape, and how much it tends to spiral, because I'm in a very transitional phase in my life where we are prepping for pregnancy. So my mindset is space, it's babies, it's let's, create and organize now. But like many things in life, my husband has to reel me back in and just remind me that timing does matter, and these things take time, and I have to let go of the need to control. That is something that I need to work on in my life in general. I am such a type A person that I like everything organized. I like everything planned out. I like to know when things are happening. I like to, mentally prepare for things. And I think that's a lesson that I just need to let go and just be open to the universe. And that is something that is really hard. It's really hard for me. I don't know about you, but it's really hard for me. I'm going to make some coffee. I am starving. It's about 8 a.m. and I have a busy day ahead of me. I have a lot to do at my day job. I have a lot to do outside here with you guys. So I want to get going. I'm going to make some coffee. I want to make some eggs. I am starving. So I want to make my bone broth and have my morning supplements. So let me get all that ready, and then we'll eat and chat together. So I've been defrosting this overnight. It's like really not as defrosted as I would have hoped. Made sourdough bread this weekend, and it was my first time ever making sourdough bread, and let me tell you, it was a success. We ate it in a day. I don't think it was even like 3 hours that went by before our whole loaf was done, so I think I did a good job. Kenny loved it, I loved it, and that's what matters. Now I don't have any utensils. If you've been following me, you know that I drink bone broth every single morning, It's one of my favorite rituals that I do in the mornings. It has so many amazing benefits for your health, your gut health, your skin health, inflammation. I could go on of how amazing bone broth is. I specifically make mine with turmeric, so it helps with inflammation. I also specifically make mine with chicken feet, chicken back for a little bit of fat, but the chicken feet is really where you get so much collagen in this cup. And I'm getting into my 30s. We're turning 32 this year, which is insane. Time just goes by so fast, so I'm trying to enjoy every second of it. But this is why I also drink bone broth every morning, is so collagen health stays and doesn't go down. And this is one of the things that I think changed my skin completely. It's changed just the way that I feel energized in the morning. I'm a big coffee drinker, but I've been having this before anything else on an empty stomach, have my bone broth, I take my supplements with it. It's just one of those rituals that makes me feel alive in the mornings. It makes me feel also taken care of the first thing in the morning. So prioritizing me, my health, number one thing, and then I go into coffee, which I can't do without. So if you're like me, try this in the mornings. I love anything like warm in the morning. It's super beneficial to also kickstart your metabolism and get your digestive system going. So having something warm, even like warm water with lemon, game changer. But bone broth, try it. And if you need a recipe, go back to my channel. I have a whole playlist of recipes that I do every single week. And I change it up here and there. So if you ever want to also figure out a good way that works for you, I'm sure I have something that I've done before that may work better for you. Morning supplements. When I started looking for my pregnancy prenatal vitamin that I wanted to take, I was overwhelmed. There's just so much on the market. There's so much that this one includes, that one includes more or less of. I was a little overwhelmed. I will say I tried Thorn, and it is 3 massive pills that you have to take after you eat, and it made me super nauseous. I also hate taking pills, so huge pills for me are a hard no. I started to take Ritual. I've actually been taking the daily women's vitamin from Ritual for over a year now, and I really like it. I like that it has a little bit of like a minty taste. You could also get, I believe, citrus. So they have like these flavors that you can get that doesn't leave your, some pills don't taste very good. Like this seed one, like tastes horrible. But I still take seed, and I only just do one of them. I think you're supposed to take 2, but I can't tolerate 2. I get so beyond nauseous. So I only take 1, and it works wonders for me. And then I've been taking the Ritual Prenatal, and so far I really like it. It has some great reviews. My gynecologist also said it's a great brand. There are other brands on the market that are amazing as well. Purcell, I believe, is another brand that I've been dying to try. They have their pills almost like in stages of where you're at. So if you're trying to conceive, you get a packet. If you're pregnant, you get a packet. Postpartum, you get a packet. I think postpartum and maybe nursing are similar, or maybe they're different. I haven't gone that deep into my research, but I will say Ritual so far for me has gone down the easiest. I take it on an empty stomach with my bone broth, and no trouble for me. So, and I have a very sensitive stomach. So if you're like me and a little bit sensitive, I would try the ritual. Again, do your own investigation, work with your gynecologist. He will be able to tell you exactly what you need. You might need a little bit more, a little bit less minerals or vitamins here and there. I know vitamin D is something that a lot of people lack. My gynecologist recommended me take vitamin D supplements. I'll lay out everything that I've learned so far, but this is definitely one of the things that I think is important to talk about, and I want to hear from you guys. What have you tried for the moms out there? Or if you're also on a journey of getting pregnant, I would love to hear from you, because I think it is so overwhelming, especially I've never been pregnant. I'm going through this for the first time, so there's a lot of information out there, and some of the information are great, but some also feel a little bit misleading, so you have to be really careful with what you read. Obviously, brands are going to promote their own things, so I am skeptical, and I think you have to be a little bit, it's your health. So ask questions and hear from your friends. But ritual for me works wonderfully. So if you have any questions or curiosities about ritual, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to run through any details that you guys may be curious about. Really is the little things in life that make me so happy. So nice and hot. I love it. I have some eggs as well that I'm trying to eat every morning. 4 eggs. It's so important to get some protein first thing in the morning. And while I'm eating here my breakfast, I want to walk you guys through a few things that I've learned since starting this pregnancy prep journey when it comes to what I'm eating, how I'm moving my body, the things that I've learned about my body while I've been searching new ways of movement to really hone in on strength, especially pelvic floor strength. That is something that I fear I lack. And I found out the hard way, because I've been working out for years, and I want to get into the details of it because it is so fascinating how much information is out there and how much lack I felt, and even someone who has been exposed to so many different fitness, so many different trainers, and I still feel like there's so much to learn. So I'm going to share everything that I learned thus far with you guys, from fitness, from food, from vitamins, from lifestyle, from mental health, and from just partnerships too. I think it's really important to be really honest with yourself and with your partner, and what the things that make you afraid. I think it's important to have those conversations. I think it's important to also continuously have those conversations with your partner. So we'll touch on all of that together. So here are a few things that I've learned so far within this pregnancy prep journey. Now, you cannot rush your body into pregnancy. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in that in general in life. Don't rush into things. Take time to listen to your body. Take time to understand your intuition. I think that it is so beautiful in life when someone is slow and intentional. You see it in the way that they show up in the world. You see it in the way that they speak to themselves. And you'll see it in every aspect of your life. I think we are all taught to go so fast, especially if you work in corporate like myself. It is such a fast moving environment that you often get looped into that fast movement in life, and you want things to happen quick, and you want this at this second. And we as a society have become so used to things happening so quick that I need to practice this myself, is have more patience. Don't rush into things. Learn as much as you can. Ask questions. Be vulnerable enough to know that you don't know everything. So that is the number one thing that I recommend. And one of the things that I learned is don't rush into it. I'm taking the time right now, is March. I plan on being pregnant at the end of this year, God willing. I keep saying that because it really is on God's term. I feel just so grateful that my body is healthy enough that I believe that I'll be able to get pregnant. Again, never gotten pregnant, so I have no idea. But I certainly want to take my time to prepare myself, my body, my mental health too. And you'll hear me saying this often, and not just a pregnancy prep program, but what you eat is who you are. What you eat shows up everywhere. It shows up in your energy levels. It shows up on your skin. It shows up on your belly. It shows up the way that you interact with your friends, with your family members, with your boyfriends, with your spouse. It shows up in every aspect of your life, what you eat. It is so, so crucial that you are honing in on your nutrition. Now, if you can, connect with a doctor and a professional to help you along with your nutrition during the phase of preparation. Super. But if you can't, there are so many free things out there. And I certainly will want to help this aspect of information sharing and will share all the information that I can, but please do your research in terms of nutrition. I think it is probably the most important aspect of this journey is the things that you're putting into your body, because that essentially is going to be what kickstarts your eggs to have that nutrition. So something that I learned from meeting with a professional on carrot with my husband. So sperm actually takes about 3 months. And I think it's pretty much the golden rule is a 3-month mark of when anything leaves your system completely. So for example, if you are dabbling in California sober and you are partaking on, smoking here and there, totally normal. Out here specifically, very normal. But let's not do it for 3 months before we are actually going to try to have a baby. Really important that you go completely clean, sober, and really up your nutrition in that 3-month period before that you actually try to conceive for the first time. Now, Kenny and I are, again, not rushing. We are planning on being pregnant by the end of this year, but again, no time in mind. If it happens tomorrow, amazing. If it happens next year, also amazing. All that I pray for is that it actually happens for us. So I'm taking the time now to do all those things. I've gone completely sober. I'm really honing in on intakes of protein. Increasing my protein intake was the hardest part for me. As someone who works out a lot, you need it anyway. But it was always really hard for me getting as much as I need at this moment. Right now, I'm aiming towards 100 to 110 grams of protein a day. So I start my mornings with my bone broth that are packed with nutrition. So that's one thing. If you include that in your daily intake, that already covers so much of your basis in terms of your health. Second is I always follow up with eggs. Eggs are packed in choline, and choline is so good, especially if you're in this phase of trying for a baby. Babies really need that for their brain development, so get your eggs in. Eggs are such a superfood. Eggs are amazing. Have it whole with the yolk, or don't if you are worried about calories, but it is so packed with nutrition that eggs is really such a superfood. Number 3, your cycle is your biggest indicator of your health in terms of reproductive health. Now, if you aren't already tracking your cycle, something that I've learned throughout this process is that tracking my cycle is a lot easier than I anticipated. I've also learned so much about myself, how I work mentally with my cycles, how I need my husband to show up for me throughout my cycles. It is so beyond interesting. And trust me, he appreciates this more than me, I think. I learned a lot about my cycles through my Aura ring. I removed my IUD last summer, so I've been a full year without an IUD or any sort of birth control. So that's been really nice to just be very free and natural of anything inside my body. So one thing that I learned about myself is that I do actually have a regular cycle. Wow, I didn't know that because I had been on an IUD since I was a very young girl. And I, for sure, thought I had irregular cycles because if you don't know, but IUDs oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes they prevent you from having a period in total. So throughout the years that I was in IUD, I didn't have a period every month. Sometimes I would spot a day, maybe 2 days max, but it wasn't every month that I was having a period. So I really thought I had irregular period. I didn't realize that that was kind of a side effect of having an IUD. So removing it, I realized that my period is actually pretty normal, and I do have some cramps here and there, and I do get all the symptoms where with the IUD it kind of masked everything for you. I would get very like emotional still, but I wouldn't get like such intense cramps. I wouldn't get, bleeding. So getting a period back was definitely like, oh, hello. But track your cycles. Tracking your cycles is so easy. And if you need help with tracking your cycles, downloading an app like Natural Cycles is super beneficial. You don't necessarily need to have an Oura Ring to use it, but it certainly helps. If you do have an Oura Ring, it does pull all your data into the Natural Cycles app automatically. So it is super helpful, but you do not need the Oura Ring in order to use Natural Cycles. Natural Cycles is an app of itself. It is super helpful to track your cycles. Now, you don't have to use Natural Cycles. There are other wonderful apps out there. You could also just use a calendar, but really tracking when you are getting your period. That is the first day of your period, is the first day of your cycle. So tracking that, understanding what the phases throughout your cycle is super important. This will give you a good idea of when you ovulate, how many days it takes your body to ovulate. It always fluctuates a little bit here and there. So just having a good understanding of those cycles, what it means for your body. Specifically, during my luteal phase, my husband knows, okay, she is in her luteal phase. I just need to be a little bit more patient with her. And that, my friends, is a good partner. And with that, I go into one of my favorite topics, which is fitness. Less intense workouts, the better. Now, that to me was a really big eye-opener, because I've always been someone who has always been really intense about everything that I do. I'm very intentional. I'm very passionate. And so my workouts, I like to feel a good sweat. I like to feel like I worked something. I like to feel sore. I love feeling sore. Feeling sore to me means that I did good work, that I went hard, and I'm someone who I give it my all when I do my fitness. So this was a tough lesson for me to really accept, was that less is more. And this is a topic that I could go on for days on. And I'm going to do a part 2 on this topic specifically because I do want you guys to also have some sort of reference point. So I am recording a few different pelvic floor training sessions, different workouts that too I've been leaning more towards in my workout split. I've changed my workout split completely than what I was before. I used to be really big into HIIT, really big into get as much sweat out, like work as much as I can out, full body workouts almost every day. So I've changed things up a little bit where it's less intense, very intentional, and I would even argue it's more intense because it's less intense. Does that make sense? Because it's more intentional and focused, it's more intense to me. So I've been really liking my new workout split, and if you guys are curious on my workout split, I have it linked down below in the descriptions, my calendar that I've been following. And this is a calendar that you can just download and follow yourself. I'm trying to make it editable. So let me know in the comments if you guys are able to download it and edit, because use it as you will. Use it for yourself, update it, edit, as you feel that it fits for your lifestyle. But I did include my workout splits. I color-coded my workout splits throughout the days. I have one day that I rest completely, which is my Saturdays, where I enjoy the weekends with my husband. So no pressure to work out, no pressure to eat like a specific meal. And I have their like high level workouts, high level like what to stick to in terms of my daily intakes for food. So I think it's super helpful. I'm someone who's super visual. I like to look at the things that I have going on, cross-check it. I like the action of actually crossing something out. So if that is something you're interested in, go check it out. It's free. It's something that I always reference back to whenever I also feel a little bit lost in the gym, especially with a new workout split. I'm like, oh, wait, what do I do today again? So this has been a really good, helpful reference point for me. So feel free to use it. Also working on a few workout videos that I want to share with you guys in terms of how we are prepping our pelvic floor. Pelvic floor training for me is new. I never have done it before, and I have been someone who has always struggled with lower back pain. So this was a game changer for me to understand of what actually is your pelvic floor. How do you control it? How do you engage your pelvic floor? You always hear the Pilates instructors, belly button to spine, engage your pelvic floor. What do you mean? What does that mean? So I now discovered that, and yeah, it's interesting because I've been feeling muscles that I've never felt before in my entire life. And this is someone who has done a lot of Pilates and has worked out and done a lot of different workouts. So I'm telling you, there are so many things that you don't realize as you get older that you start learning about your body that makes such a difference. So pelvic floor training is something that I'm going to continue raving about. And I urge you to also do some research on pelvic floor training during pregnancy and postpartum. It's going to be what changes your body. It's going to be so helpful for the way that you deliver your baby when you have a strong pelvic floor and pelvic floor control. More to come on that. And then you've heard me talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it again because I think it's so important, but it's really aligning with your partner. What does it mean to be a partner and have a baby? I think that completely changes your identity and the way that you show up in your relationship, in the world. So what does it mean to you to be a mom? What does it mean to you in the first few days? What does it mean to you in the first few months? I think it's important to have those conversations, and it's a tough conversation too. So if you guys need to get professional help, Kenny and I started couples counseling to talk about things that we have yet to be able to solve ourselves. For example, our communication is completely different. I am someone who I definitely take my time. I'm someone who I need to think and process. I feel things very deeply. I'm very intuitive, and I'm someone who I just need space to think. Kenny is the opposite. Kenny is someone who needs to speak in order to take action. So he needs to talk things out loud. And so our communications are completely different. And I thought it was really important that we are able to recognize that going into this parenthood journey together, because with kids, things are going to be tough, and especially the first few weeks when you're still trying to understand your new normal. I think it's important to be on the same page of what that means for each other. Who gets what shift? Who's responsible for what your expectation is of your husband. Do you expect him to help full time? Do you expect him to also be feeding, changing diapers, helping with laundry? Or do you expect him to be someone who's a little bit more just on the side? What do you expect him to be? I think it's so important for you both to have the conversations of what your roles are in your own perspectives, and be aligned with that, and understand that things are not going to be perfect. Things are not going to be so detailed the way that you think they are. So being open, and with your partner, being open to those changes and to having those tough conversations, crucial. Biggest advice is start having those conversations, start talking, start opening up with your partner. And then lastly, this is all just the beginning to what is going to be an amazing change of events in your life. Your life is going to change in incredible ways. And I know that. And this is why I'm so beyond excited to start this journey, because I think children are such a blessing from God. They are blessings to this world. And I could not be more thankful to be able to start this journey with such an amazing partner. I'm so beyond excited. I'm excited to be sharing this all with you guys. This is certainly the foundation for what's to come next. And in the next phase of life, you're going to be just that much more prepared, especially with your partner. And I think that is so beautiful. I hope that you guys learned something from this video, and I can't wait to continue doing these things with you guys and sharing what I've learned. And I hope that you guys are also sharing what you've learned, because I would love to not only learn from you guys, but do a recap on the things that you guys have learned and share with our viewers as well. A kiss to you, and have a wonderful week. Till next time.